Moving on, the Tablighis continue to create mayhem across the country. Several of those who attended the religious congregation have tested positive, and there are many others who are at this point in time under quarantine. And meanwhile, all of this is happening in the country. The Markaz Chief Maulana Saad is still in the hiding, and the Delhi police has issued a notice to him with several questions related to the organization and the religious gathering. Let's go across to Mohit, who's joining us with more details on this development. A notice has been issued to Maulana Saad and others, and the Delhi police has listed several questions about the organization and the religious congregation, whether permission was taken or not, whether there were CCTV cameras over there.
Well, absolutely, Swati. Well, the entire attempt of the Delhi police now comes in the wake of the multiple individuals who have tested positive with regards to, their relations with the Tablighi. Now, what had happened was that many of them had refused to even step out, or for that matter, to cooperate with the medical personnel to even get tested. And now, with their number itself reaching to close to around 400 in New Delhi itself, it is alarming. It is a bit alarming right now. And given the fact that the Delhi police is still trying to identify all those people who may have attended this particular congregation over the past 3 months or so, Delhi police has now sent out notice specifically asking some of the very important questions, including whether or not all permissions were acquired by them before calling for such a congregation, or for that matter, do they actually have a CCTV footage through which many of these people who have now gone into hiding can be tracked and traced as well. So obviously the attempt is very clear at this particular point from Delhi police, that they want to establish all those who had in fact attended this congregation at one time or the other, especially given the fact that all those who had attended this congregation in the month of March should be identified. We have seen how there have been reports of many of these individuals attending the congregation and then going to various parts of the country where they have in fact tested positive as well. So all of that coming back, and since all of it really comes back to New Delhi, to Nizammudin West, the Delhi police is trying to ensure that they work in close coordination with not just state polices, but at the same time with the central authorities as well.
Another important point, Mohit, since the Markaz chief and others related to the Markaz have time and again claimed that they were seeking permission from the authorities to vacate the premise, but the authorities weren't responding. Now, the Delhi police also wants them, to tell them whether there was any correspondence between the government and the authorities and the Markaz. Stay on with us, Mohit. We are getting a breaking input at this point in time, and we are being told that the Delhi Police Crime Branch will continue to question the Markaz accused through paperwork. So the questioning will continue. Sources say they have located Maulana Saad's location, but since Maulana and his team are on self-quarantine, they will first analyze the response on the 26 questions that have been asked. Let's go back to Mohit, who continues to be with us. So the questioning will continue through paperwork.
Well, at this particular point, Swati, like I was telling you, the main and the most important point here is to track down everybody who had attended the congregation, and that is the priority of the Delhi police as well. We have seen how many of these individuals had gone to other parts of the state, other parts of the country where they have in fact tested positive. And right now, this specific attempt by the Delhi police comes in the wake of how the current team, which is essentially responsible for the entire congregation, has gone into quarantine itself. So obviously, the Delhi police obviously respecting the same at this particular point, but at the same time, trying to ensure that everybody who was a part of the congregation at one time or the another can be tracked down at this particular point. That is of importance here, because the authorities are trying to ensure that this coronavirus does not spread further. It does not infect people, who may have not voluntarily known but have become carriers of the same.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if they fail to answer the questions, or if the answers are not satisfactory, then all of them can be arrested when their quarantine period ends. Mohit, thank you very much for joining us with those details.